AMD has been one of our best setups and best holdings for 2025. Back in April, we were talking about how we were going long and buying a ton of shares in 2026 call options because we were sitting inside of this smart money zone. Since then, we are up nearly 87%, and our target for 2025 was $200. And about 4 to 5 months early, we're only 15% away from that level. Now, the reason that we were talking about getting in back here in April is because price action was pulling into our smart money zone. Now, as an investor or a trader, what you want to be doing is focusing on a stock that has bullish structure, meaning that if we zoom out to a massive time frame chart, such as this weekly, that price action every time it pulls back is still making higher lows. And what you want to be focusing on is buying at a discount. That is why these institutional buy zones and these smart money zones are so in. And I want you to understand that I didn't time this to absolute perfection. I nibbled on AMD back here in February. I nibbled back here in December, and I lost multiple times trying to time the bottom. But our goal as investors and traders is not to be right all of the time. We have $5.1 million in realized profits in the past 3 years with only a 58% win rate. So we're not focused on being right every single time that we take a trade. We want to focus that we're buying into bullish structure. We want to focus that we're buying into some sort of strength with the BX trender. And more importantly, we want to focus that if we zoom out, we are buying at a discount. We don't want to be buying up here. And so you can see that from the time we hit that smart money zone back here in the end of March, price action bounced, the BX trender made a higher low and eventually turned green. If we get a green BX trender or a higher low inside of a smart money zone, it's a very good sign that institutions are buying into that pocket of discount, which is exactly what we want to see. Now, our goal and our thought process here was that we were most likely going to see a push up to $200 by the end of this year. That would end up showing where this smart money zone on the bigger time frame is seated. We take our Fibonacci from all-time highs down to low. This would be our macro target. And our shorter term target was going to be right here at about $160 to $152. If you're tired of second guessing your trades and want true clarity, we've built a free masterclass series that shows you how to use the BX Trender smart money zones step by step. You go ahead and watch it today, totally free, and over 20,000 traders have already taken this course. The link is in the description. Now, the way I thought this was initially going to play out, and the reason why I gave this a target by the end of 2025, was I thought price was going to push up into this zone. Price was going to pull back. Then we were going to move up to 200. That's where I got November into December as my potential target. But the best case scenario ended up happening, and price action has just continued to expand. You can see here the BX trender continues to hold green, showing that we have buying pressure, continuing to push higher and higher. And as of right now, we have just pushed right through and into that first smart money zone. And now we are very close to that $200 target that we spoke about for the end of 2025. Now, before we go into my target for the end of 2025, now I want you to understand that this pattern and the same exact thing that we're going over for that most recent trade happens all of the time. We can go back and actually take a look at the last time that we traded AMD like this, which was October of 2023. Price action here, much smaller of a structure, pulls right back into that smart money zone. We end up seeing that bounce. Price pushes right through the resistance and then continues to expand. Now, in this case, you can see that from lows to high, we ended up having a significant expansion before the BX trender turned red of nearly 60% in 140 days. And one thing I do want to point out is that you're never going to sell perfectly at the top. I normally wait for this indicator, the BX, to turn red. So yes, at one point we would have given back about 20% in profits, but that's a part of the game. You're never going to sell perfectly at the top. You're never going to buy perfectly at the bottom. It's always better to wait for confirmation and to follow your system than to just sell. Because if we would have tried to take profits back here at 140, we would have left a lot of money at the table. So now let's take a look at our targets for 2025. If this expansion were to continue, Well, let's zoom out. Let's take a look at the monthly. The first thing to notice is that we have this smart money zone. Well, if we break through this, and we're talking about the next 3, 6 months, not the next couple of weeks, I think there's a very good chance that we can move our way back up to 225, which is about a 28% move, and even as high as $260 to $280. So there's a chance that we can see this thing continue to rally significantly over the next couple of months. But I will say that this here is not the time to buy. Time to buy was back in April when we were talking about it, and back in May. If you're getting in now, you are definitely paying a premium. Doesn't mean it can't continue to run, but your risk versus reward at this point is really not ideal. If I was not in at this point, then I would just sit out and go look for another position or hope that price rejects, pulls back to 140, and I'd be loading up around there.